Color changes on Mercedes Benz. The commentary. This is another mailbag video. It would technically be mailbag number 7, but I got a lot of interesting feedback on whether or not I should, whether or not one should change the color on their Mercedes. And so Jamie Thompson, who's restoring a 280E, actually left a lot of very interesting comments that required some sitting and thinking of me. I don't usually sit and think about comments that I get that are in disagreement, but this one was very thought-provoking, and the real meat behind this comment was, if I'm putting a parts car back together that was otherwise going to be crushed, why can't I just change the color? Which, I see the validity in Jamie's question. I think it's a good question. It's hot here. Gotta stay hydrated. I think it's a valid question, and now we're going to address this question. First of all, the sense of entitlement I was talking about isn't necessarily something you should feel apprehensive about. Anybody. I'm not just talking to one person or two people. We believe that because we have taken a car that was ultimately going to be destroyed or crushed or whatever, that it was going to be, that we're entitled to be able to change the color on it because we did all this work. And so, yeah, you are. I mean, it's your car, okay? Nobody can stop you except, maybe I can. I don't know, but probably not. But what I do have to emphasize here is that if you find a car like the one that Jamie found and you put it back together and you change the color, you are doing a greater good objectively than if you don't do anything with the car at all and just let it get crushed and turned into 10 Kias, like what happens to most classic Mercedes when they end up in the wrong hands. So Jamie, I have to publicly congratulate you for actually doing the right thing. Second of all, I think the overwhelming majority of people agreed with me about changing a car's color, about how it seems like it might not be the wrong thing to do. And I have to phrase this as a question. Would you want to buy a car with a color change, or would you want to buy a car with a repaint in its original color? I personally am skittish about buying cars with color changes for reasons I mentioned earlier, but you have to think of it from the perspective of, would I want to buy this car if the color was changed, especially if it was changed to something ludicrous. Now, a third interesting comment that I got from several people was, it's their car. Why should we tell them what to do? And I'm like, well, because it might be your car now, but in the future it might not be. And you have to remember that we're preserving these cars for posterity. I promise you, in 100 years, most of my cars will be here. Hopefully all of them will be here, but I will not be the owner of them because I will be dead. And I can say that about most of your Mercedes too, if they end up in the right hands. They may still be in the family, but, let's just keep that in mind, that we are caretakers of these cars. I find that people that have this preservationist mindset of, I am a caretaker of this car. If it needs a paint job, I'm going to keep the car as authentic as I can. That is the kind of person you want to buy a car from. And that's the kind of car you want to buy. If you don't have that mindset, then it means that you're probably just beating on your C63 AMG and you've added some AMG wheels and some body flares to it because you don't understand the mindset of preserving a car. So I will say to most of you who have said, oh, who cares what they want to do? It's their car, that you don't understand the preservationist mindset of classic cars. This channel is all about preservation. This channel is for people who want to preserve classic Mercedes as they are supposed to be. It's not for people who think, oh, this is just about modding or changing your classic Mercedes. No. I don't even want any of you subscribing here unless you're willing to change your mind, This channel is for people who appreciate the car for what it is. And for people like my buddy Jamie Thompson, who are trying to save a car that would actually be scrapped and crushed and turned into a cube, or, 25 Samsung refrigerators, or 15 Hyundai Santa Fe's, or 32 Tata Nanos, or whatever. Now, one more thing I want to say. One of the people left a comment, and I can't remember his name, his user handle, but he said, "Car's going to be gone in 10 years anyway." Well, this guy's probably driving, a new A class. And I say that when somebody leaves comments like that, you have left your balls unshielded, because I'm going to go at you. And in this case, I will render my swift kick to this person's statement by saying that these cars that survive for 40 or 50 years, they probably have a few more decades in them, some of them, before they really need to be restored. And one thing I have to emphasize is we're not doing major nut and bolt restorations here at Pierre Hedary's. We're preserving a lot of stuff. We may have to CAD plate some stuff and chrome plate some stuff to protect the metal. We may have to rebuild an engine, but for the most part, we're not taking the entire car apart, nut, bolt, and screw. We're not having to rewire entire cars here. We're not having to, repair structural metal deep inside the car. I mean, these cars are good cars. Anyway, if you like this video and you agree with me, please like, share, and subscribe. If people leave nasty comments about your desire to preserve a Mercedes the way it's supposed to be, just remember that you're doing the right thing, and that if the car could talk, it would thank you. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please share it with other like-minded Mercedes enthusiasts, and keep preserving and taking care of the car you have. And if you've been so moved to take a Mercedes and restore it that has otherwise been condemned for parts, then I commend you, because that takes a lot of work, and I don't mean to denigrate any of your work. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you if you're supporting us on Patreon. Enjoy driving your classic Mercedes.